I don't know. This one is kind of tricky. I'm trying to think of what the idea might be. I have the double bishop, great, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of like what kind of weakness can I create in this position. I have a 3-on-2 majority on this side of the board,
Mm-hmm.
whereas black can't really activate his majority on the other side because of my bishop,
Very correct.
really. So the only winning idea that I would think in this kind of position would be to try to just throw these pawns at him, right? Like eventually just start playing like c4, b4, a4, push b5.
Very, very nice. Very nice, Shafi. So that's actually the solution. Yeah, you have everything ready in the position. If you want to win this, you have to, like, generally we have two rules here. Either we play on the side where we have the advantage, like where we have the permanent advantage, or we go for the minority attack side. Yeah, like minority attack, not just to push pawns, but the side where we don't have a full-fledged advantage.
Right.
So that side, when we do, we are trying to create a weakness in our opponent's camp, and
Mm-hmm.
here we are just trying to use our own advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
you're actually right here. White, I mean, in this position, white actually. Oh, sorry, I actually gave you the position with black to play. So black actually made a move f6 here, which was a bit of a like questionable decision, but white just played rook d6, rook h6, and a4. Just keep pushing, yeah, next.
Yeah.
So black obviously cannot allow that, yeah, because he knows he's gonna get steamrolled. But now you can see, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a zugzwang for black.
Mm-hmm.
No decent moves, yeah.
Right.
So black had to try for something, but of course it didn't work. So he's trying for some weird counterplay, but nothing works, of course. And okay, I just even found this tactics here.
Wow.
But this is actually the right way to progress in the position, as you mentioned. Yeah, I mean you don't even have to actually play rook d6 in the position. It happened because of f6. But yeah, you can just push your pawns in this one. In this scenario, you can just push. It will be automatically winning if you push your pawns like this.
Yeah, because if you maintain the position well, like black doesn't really have anything significant that he can attack, right? Like everything on the
True.
king side seems like it's decently held in place.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he pushes f5 at some point, we'll trade on f5, and then if he ever pushes g4 or something, we'll trade everything off.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, I'm still left with like 3 against 2, and then that pawn on e-file is probably not going anywhere.
Very
I
good.
already have two bishops working together nicely with the rook on that side of the board, right? King is already on that side of
Mm-hmm.
the board, both mine and his, so it makes sense to just kind of push the king pawns and then move the king up with it or something.
Yeah, correct.
All
It
right.
is correct. Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
in the game, he played a4, right? Or black played
Yes.
a
I
d6,
mean,
rook d6, and
white
a4.
actually played rook d6, rook h6, and a4.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go to the next one. Okay.
sure.
Okay. So this was the position, and white responded with rook d8. Obviously, nothing tactically is happening here. So we are trying to focus on the decision making part. Yeah. Like, what should black play here? And what do you think should be his plan?
So what should be Black's plan was the question, right?
Yes, Rafi. Like what basically you should do as black to improve your position. I mean, you can see yeah, like there is nothing wrong with white's position as well. But of course, black is like technically better, yeah, because of double bishops.
Well, one thing that might improve my position in this position would be to take the white rook.
Mm.
Yeah,
I mean,
I will
after
start
that,
there.
like after capturing the rook, what next? And how would you
Yeah.
like to capture?
Oh, how would I? I didn't even think about that. There's two options. Hmm.
Two options here. Because you should have a plan, yeah. Like capture is obviously like a move, but you
Yeah.
should have a plan after capturing, right?
Yep. Yep. Definitely. I think the only things I've thought about so far is, you know, putting that C6 knight on F4.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he just tries to exchange it off with knight E2. What would be my follow-up to that was one question, right? I don't have a good like way to, maybe I can just come back. I don't know, but that's definitely an idea. So in that scenario, I mean, obviously I'll take with the knight and go to E6 and F4. Um, Taking over the D file immediately doesn't really make a lot of sense because he can just challenge me on that D file right away. So rook
Mm-hmm.
takes to me doesn't make that much sense. The knight is the probably one of the least active pieces in this position, right? It doesn't have any good squares, so improving it is definitely a first order priority. My bishops are decently placed. One is pointing at E4, keeping the other one, white one, engaged. The other one is pointing at F2, so if any rook move to D2 is in the air for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have a good home for my king on maybe G7, maybe even E6 someday if the bishop wasn't a problem. So these are some of the things I've thought about in this position.
Okay.
And I think that white's knights are pretty well kept in check here because I mean there's really no they can't do anything, right? Like every square is taken from them. So this is a good moment for me to try to push for some edge, but I don't know how I could get my rook to D2 though. That's the main thing I'm trying to do. I want my rook
Okay.
to D2 and I want my knight on F4.
Okay.
Those two things will
So,
definitely give me some edge.
okay, one thing I would say you said very correct that taking control of this open file doesn't make any sense right now, which is true in this position at least because uh, just the open file never helps. Yeah, you need to have some entry points, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any entry points. Like it's everything is guarded, yeah, from here to here.
Yep.
Okay, so if you have some purpose of rook on a8, just let it be there and get the knight to d8. Or, for example, if he is getting rook d1 and trying to get something done, then you have to probably capture with rook d8. But as you can see, if he plays this, we always have this.
Yep.
So knight d8 is the logical capture here.
Yep.
Second thing, I feel, which we just saw in the previous position as well, yeah. Whenever you are playing with this double bishop advantages, like pushing your pawn on one side of the board is usually like a good idea. It's the general improvement of the position. And then double bishops, they do work nicely as well.
I would push on the queen side.
Yes, you have to push on the queen side.
Because king side, he's got his pieces. I'm already keeping the knights in control over there. Why mess all that up? He has the bishop pointing that way. But queen side, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have that many helpers, and all my pieces are ready to help on the queen side, right?
Yes, exactly. So you should push on the queen side. And
Yeah.
that's what happened actually.
Yeah,
So
that was
rook,
my next idea actually. I did think about that as well. After getting the knight there, right, trying to see if I can get some rook activity, my next idea was definitely going to be to try to see how can I start advancing those pawns.
push.
Because
Mm-hmm.
there's no other really logical advance that I can make here. Like the F5 is not happening anytime soon, so
Mm-hmm.
it has to be on
No,
the queen side.
it's correct actually. Just one thing is probably not necessary. That is getting the knight to f4. Maybe you can just keep it on e6. Yeah, like
Hmm.
it's not that bad as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's eyeing all those important squares. That's true.
Yeah, I mean here it's eyeing this and it's eyeing this. You just keep it flexible. Yeah, if
Yeah.
necessary, you can always go to f4.
Yep.
Okay. So
Sure.
here after this, white played knight d3. So you can see white is defending. Yeah. And this is the moment when black started. So now black is perfectly ready, right, to play in the position. So a5, f3, c5. So it's like nothing is happening. I mean, black doesn't have any clear threats, but white is somehow out of moves.
Well, his knights are really not well placed, and he doesn't have good space. The bishop sucks. Look at why doesn't black have moves? I think I exactly like we can see it, right? Bishop has all these white pawns blocking it. Doesn't have any good
Mm-hmm.
squares.
Yeah.
He doesn't have space for the
Mm-hmm.
most part. Knights do not have any outpost squares that they can go to
No.
get to easily. So it's almost like he's playing down a minor piece, you can say, altogether.
Mm-hmm. True. It's true. Like everything is restricted for white. I mean, white has no weaknesses, but he cannot do anything.
Right.
It's like one of the worst way to play. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll just show you the rest of the game now. So knight f2, and you can see black is not, as I said, yeah, black doesn't have to do anything instantly. He just plays
Yeah.
rook d8, rook d2, c4, knight e2, bishop e3, rook d1, bishop c6. So after all this, he's just slowly planning b4, yeah? That too in a perfect timely manner. He's not gonna do it instantly.
Hmm.
So I think here already we can say that the position is kind of okay. I'll just show you the evaluation bar here. Yeah, you see it's like a stable minus 1.6. Yeah, almost.
Hmm.
And just have a look from this position. Yeah. So after rook d8, knight d8, the advantage. So white didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, from his moves. You can say, like whatever white played so far. It's not like any bad moves. Yeah, white did pretty much everything okayish. But you can see the advantage is just gradually shifting in black's favor.
Hmm.
I mean, knight e2, it's like not a very illogical move. Yeah, really, white thought that this is the like the piece which is completely out of play, right? Let me
Hmm.
bring it back to the game, and he brings, and suddenly you see some dip in advantage. So this is the problem when you play these kind of positions, like these kind of technical positions. Always it will be a big problem. So white now plays rook b1, b4, knight d1, and I think bishop a7 king. So
Hmm.
here white played b3. Probably the only way, yeah, to try and like neutralize few pawns, right?
Hmm.
And took cb3, bishop b3, rook d8. Okay. Now finally we are coming to your point, yeah.
Hmm.
So bishop e6, king e6, king e1, and I think bishop c5 was played. c4, a4. Now it's just totally lost. So c4 was probably like a time pressure move, but it's just straight away lost.
Okay.
And okay, now you can see, yeah, it's already game over. Like there are just no logical moves for white left anymore in the position.
Hmm.
So white played knight b2, a3, knight d1, and bishop a4. So now I'm just gonna play this. Eventually, you are going to be out of moves.
Yeah, rook's almost trapped and b3 is coming, right?
Yeah, almost like bishop. I will like probably the plan is to play bishop c2, push him somewhere here, play b3, and after a b3, maybe like trade everything on d1 and push a to a1, yeah.
Yeah.
Or something else. I mean, there will be many things in the position, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, as I said, it's almost lost. But okay, white played knight f2, like he got out of this, which allows us this and b3. And I think it's almost game over because after rook a1, bishop b4, bishop b3. I mean, I don't know what's left in the position anymore.
Yeah, lost basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Conversion. I think it's yeah, just kind of trying to see like the big plans in the position. I need to start training my brain to do that in the actual games because and for that maybe I need to play longer time controls until I get that memory built up again. Because last
Mm-hmm.
couple of tournaments I played, I definitely didn't have first of all, I wasn't thinking like this. Second of all, I didn't have time to think like this. Because this type of planning takes some time. Like 45-minute games are not gonna be that conducive to develop and bring back this muscle memory of forcing
Mm-hmm.
yourself to identify these plans and execute on them. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
good though. Because if you
Okay.
can, if I don't know, for me, this kind of thing it helps me a lot. Because if I can simplify down a position like this, right, where I have
Mm-hmm.
this idea that hey, I need to push these pawns, I
Yeah.
need to slowly poke holes at him, get these two bishops active. Like it's makes chess a lot easier. Then I don't have to really calculate as hard. I can just go off the idea and see, okay, which moves make the idea work and which moves do not make the idea work. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, no, I mean, actually, you can see, yeah, also one more thing, Rafi, yeah, like this kind of things, I mean, this kind of technical chess, yeah, if you actually manage to like get in your games and play, this is also like a very easy thing, yeah, because like it's not a long calculation, yeah, which was anywhere never your forte, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through these complicated lines and variations and use a lot of time. But if you just know these rules, you can actually convert positions. Yeah, sure. You have to make like some small calculations here, there. Yeah. Like for example, in this position, try and find rook d8. But these are also not forcing. Yeah. You can play bishop c5, for example, here. And
Hmm.
all your advantages would be still intact.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I think we will continue anyway. Yeah. Like we'll continue practicing more and more on these kind of positions. And it eventually comes like it's obviously overnight it's not going to happen, but eventually it will like strike you like, okay, these are the positions I can do this. You can relate, yeah, from the examples that you have seen or some games you might have seen as well.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes
Okay,
sense.
perfect. I think probably for today we'll wrap it up here.
Okay, cool, man. Sounds good.
Okay, sure. Okay.
All right. I'll
And
talk to you later.
thanks. Yeah, I'll
Thank
see
you.
you then. Bye bye.
Bye.